As you're talking, I'm going into that gamma, to be honest. I'm dropping my breath. You're definitely onto something. And, I think that needs to be studied. There's a couple of interesting things that you said. One is, really dropping your respiratory rate. Absolutely. You're also activating your parasympathetic nervous system when you're breathing deeply and slowly. You're activating your parasympathetic nervous system, and certain studies have actually shown that when the parasympathetic nervous system is activated, that there's an increased flow of cerebrospinal fluid into the spine and brain tissue itself. Okay. So then you're talking about resonance, right? Multiple studies have shown that brain cohesion is increased at 6 breaths a minute or less. Multiple MRI studies have shown that there's increased sort of connection between different parts of the brain, that there's increased brain cohesion at 6 breaths a minute or less. When, and there's a lot of studies that have looked at inducing altered states of consciousness when we slow our breath down. And you said 4 breaths a minute. There's actually very specific studies that have looked at box breathing, and 2.5 breaths a minute alters states of consciousness, can lead one to. When you activate your perineal floor, you're using the musculature of your perineum as a sort of, as a almost like an ignition of the fluid up towards your cranium. So you're actually squeezing the pelvic floor, you're squeezing the sacrum, and getting that fluid. We have a fluid sort of lake down at the bottom of the sacrum. You're getting that fluid to move up. I sort of see that as the plasma that you're showing in that tube.
Yeah.
Right? If we don't move that, what's going to happen? It's just going to go, right? So now imagine I swallow that, right? And it goes into my spine. And so the bottom there is the bottom of my spine. That's the sacrum. Okay. And the black is my third ventricle. Okay. So
Yes.
how could I get, obviously our bodies isn't glass, but you could, if it wasn't glass and it was more malleable like our bodies are, you could have somebody, take a little bit of a, squeeze the bottom, and all of a sudden you start seeing that plasma go whoop, right?
How do you
Whoop.
feel about going upside down? Because I think, so you know how the fascia is holding all the organs? I wonder how many people are dealing with, like, if you don't go upside down for 40 years, if your organs start to sag inside of the fascia tissues, and as soon as we just start going upside down for a few minutes a day, even if they breathe wrong, that this fluid would kind of be forced.
Yeah.